another nail in my coffin.
Hey everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series, Nails in a Coffin, where we learned that with great kills, there must also come great nails. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, this is my Nails in a Coffin series. I perform a kill analysis on the on-screen kills in horror movies. I rate how well a person responds to a life-threatening situation, and I use Nails in a Coffin as a rating system. If the victim fights really hard and makes the right choices, they can get up to 4 nails in the coffin. If they make dumb decisions or actions, such as just standing there, running upstairs instead of running outside, splitting up, I can give them as low as 1 nail in the coffin. Now, I've already covered Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Urban Legends, Scream, Child's Play, and I just wrapped up the Puppet Master franchise. So I've already covered all those franchises. I'll have some cards up here for you guys to check out. Please do so at your leisure. This week, I'm covering A24's X, directed by Ty West. I love A24 movies. They're fantastic. You got Midsommar, Black Coat's Daughter, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, Green Room. Those are just a few of the A24 films that I absolutely adore, and I really, really did enjoy X. I loved Pearl, and I can't wait to see Maxine. I think Mia Goth is definitely someone to watch. I think she's going to be a super mega star one day. If she's not already, because she did. It's a shame she didn't get nominated for her performance in X. I just thought it was amazing. Same performance, just amazing in Pearl. So let's see how X stacks up with my Nails in a Coffin. Did these victims make stupid decisions that aided in their demise? So sit back, relax, and we put some nails in a coffin with Ty West's X. Producer Wayne, Maxine Minks, Bobby Lynn, Jackson Hole, director RJ, and RJ's girlfriend Lorraine traveled to a small remote farmhouse to film The Farmer's Daughter. They're staying at Howard and Pearl's farm to shoot the film. Howard is not too happy about what the group is going to be filming. Meanwhile, his wife Pearl is lamenting over her age. She still has desires to be met, but Howard is too scared to make friends with her due to his heart condition. Lorraine, she wants to shed her innocent girl persona about half an hour or so into the movie, and she wants to shoot an adult scene. Her boyfriend RJ is not happy about this, and he really does not want her to do it. He eventually agrees to shoot the scene, but it only upsets him more. He sobs in the shower, and he plans to leave while everybody else is sleeping. Getting into our first death in X, RJ, he grabs the keys to the van, and he tries to leave the farmhouse. He starts to drive away, but he has to stop when he sees Pearl in her nightgown standing in front of the van. He gets out of the van and tries to see if she needs any help. She hugs him and kisses him on the cheek. This is going to make him feel a little bit uncomfortable as Pearl offers up her body to him. She's lonely and she wants some attention, but RJ spurns her advances. He attempts to get her back in the house, but Pearl stabs RJ in the neck. He falls to the ground and Pearl gets on top of him as if they were making friends. RJ is slowly dying with the knife in his neck. Pearl takes out the knife and continues to stab RJ in the neck as blood spurts out on the van and its headlamps, and this results in a pretty cool looking scene having a red hue to it as Pearl finishes off RJ. Very nice effect. RJ was first to get killed in this movie, and I'm going to award him 2 nails in the coffin. You know, he left the farm because he was upset that his girlfriend wanted to be in an adult film, and I really can't blame him for that. When he saw Pearl, he showed concern and wanted to help her. He wasn't rude when she made a pass at him, and there was no reason for him to think that he'd be in danger. She stabbed him out of nowhere, and he didn't have much of a chance to survive. He was just trying to help an elderly woman, and I didn't see him do anything wrong or stupid. He was pretty much just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and when that happens to a victim, I'm going to give them 2 nails in the coffin. A short while later that night, Lorraine and Wayne notice that RJ is missing, and they decide to go look for him. Wayne goes into the barn, and he's only wearing a banana hammock. Weird. He steps on a nail that was in a board, and he falls down to the ground. He pulls out the board, and he's holding his foot. He calls for RJ, thinking maybe RJ's still in the barn. Wayne gets up, and he sees something move outside the barn, so he goes over to the wall of the barn, and he's looking outside some drill holes in the wall. He pauses for a moment when he thinks he sees something, and then a pitchfork is thrust into his eye, killing him. Wayne took a nail to the foot, and I'm going to give him 1 nail in the coffin. There are a few reasons why I'm only going to give him one now. He went to look for his buddy, but did he only have to do it wearing skimpy underwear? I mean, you're still staying at somebody else's, place, farm. And also, I would not want to walk barefoot in a barn. If I stepped on a rusty nail, my first priority would be to get it cleaned and bandaged up. Wayne was still worried about looking for RJ before he knew RJ was just upset about his girlfriend, being banged by a dude. In a movie, he didn't think that RJ would be in any danger. It was any emergency to find him. I think the priority should have been to go get his foot cleaned up and taken care of so he didn't get, I don't know, tetanus or something. So, yeah, it just wasn't an emergency looking for RJ. I think he should have went to go get his foot cleaned and bandaged first instead of being curious about something you see outside of a barn. But, yeah, and then he wanted to walk in dirty hay over to that. It's a barn, not clean. Didn't make much sense to why he did that. So I think his curiosity and stupidity killed him, which is why he took a nail to the foot and one nail in the coffin. Lorraine was in Howard's basement. Earlier, she was invited into the house by Howard, who told her his wife was missing. She goes down into the basement to retrieve Howard's flashlight. She goes down there, but she also finds a decaying corpse of a man. She freaks out, but she's currently locked in the basement. Jackson wakes up after she screams, and he goes downstairs to get a drink, and he sees Howard outside. Howard tells him that his wife is missing, and Jackson actually offers to help him go look for her. During the search, Jackson finds a submerged car in the lake, and he's checking it out when he sees Howard's flashlight in front of the car. He goes to the front of the car, and he thinks maybe Howard was under the water for a moment, but he wasn't, and just as Jackson was getting out of the lake, he ran into Howard. They talk for a moment, with Howard accusing Jackson of enticing his wife. Jackson is kind of confused at this accusation, right as Howard puts the shotgun to Jackson's chest and he pulls the trigger, killing him. Jackson was one of my favorite characters in X, and I'm going to give him 2 nails in a coffin. He offered to help Howard search for Pearl, really nice guy, and Jackson noticed the shotgun Howard had and he asked about it. Howard told him that it was for gators, and Jackson did believe him. He saw the car in the lake and then the flashlight, so he thought maybe Howard was in trouble. And he, being selfless, going to go see if he can help the guy. Unfortunately, it was all a setup from Howard. And as soon as Howard lifted his gun up, it was too late for Jackson to do anything as Howard pulled the trigger. He was trying to help an old man and he paid for it with his life. And I can't say I saw him do anything stupid. Maybe you can argue he shouldn't have trusted Howard when he saw the gun, but he did, and I don't think that decision was dumb enough that it really aided in him getting killed. He just trusted the old man, so I think he earns at least 2 nails in the coffin. While this was happening, Pearl climbed in bed with Maxine while she was sleeping. Maxine wakes up, sees Pearl, and she screams. The scream wakes up Bobby Lynn. She rushes to see what's the matter, and she sees Pearl run out of the house. Bobby Lynn follows Pearl to a dock on the lake, and Bobby Lynn has a blanket. She's trying to talk Pearl away from the edge of the lake, trying to help her out. Pearl is angry and smacks Bobby Lynn across the face, accusing her of flaunting her sex appeal, throwing it in her face. How dare she? This pisses Bobby off, and she tries to get past Pearl, but Pearl won't let her past her. And before Bobby Lynn can do anything else, Pearl shoves her into the lake, and she's attacked and killed by an alligator. I'm going to give Bobby Lynn 1.5 nails in a coffin. I was going to give her 2 nails because she was just trying to help Pearl. And she had no idea Pearl was, a maniac or that some of her friends were already dead. But I am going to take some points off since she should have shoved past Pearl after she was slapped. Maybe she didn't want to hurt the old lady, but she easily couldn't have gotten past Pearl without hurting her. Yeah, Pearl had no strength. She could have just pushed her aside. As soon as she hit the water, the alligator did attack her, so she didn't have much time really to do anything. But I do believe 1.5 nails in a coffin seems fair since she was trying to help Pearl, but I think she should have pushed past her a little bit sooner than she could have. Maxine is now hiding under the bed as Howard and Pearl enter the room, and she hears them talk about the murders, and she has to actually listen to them have sex. She flees from underneath the bed while they were busy, and she goes to the van, but the tire is flat. She grabs a pistol out of the glove box and goes into the farmhouse where she frees Lorraine from where she was locked in the basement. Lorraine is very upset and blames all of this on Maxine. Lorraine just wants to get away from everybody and she bolts out of the house. As soon as she gets to the porch, Howard blows her away with his shotgun. Lorraine and herself 2.5 nails in a coffin. You know, she was locked down in the basement by Howard. She found a rotting corpse of a man, and she only went down in the basement to get a flashlight to help Howard look for Pearl. And she was freaked out, as most people would be if they were locked in a creepy basement with a rotting corpse. She wanted to get the hell out of there as soon as possible, as soon as Maxine, let her out of the locked basement, which is probably the smartest thing anybody could have done. She didn't want to wait for anything. She didn't want to listen to anything Maxine had to say. She just wanted to get out of there. The first thing she did was run out of the house. Unfortunately, Howard was there with a shotgun, and I can't blame her for that. She did one of the smartest things I guess you could have done in that situation, and that was to get the F out of there now. That's what she chose to do, but yeah, she was just put in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the least I can do is give her 2.5 nails in the coffin. After Lorraine got killed, Maxine was hiding while Howard and Pearl dragged Lorraine's body back into the house. Their plan is to make it look like a home invasion, and they just use self-defense on all these kids. When Howard was dragging in Lorraine's body, she wasn't dead quite yet. She gags on blood and chokes on it for a second right before she dies. This startles Howard. He backs into the wall and collapses to the floor, having a fatal heart attack. I'm going to give the old man Howard 1 nail in the coffin. He knew he had a bad heart, hence why he earlier didn't want to service his wife. Yet he still decided to kill these people using a shotgun. Like, all that wasn't going to cause a lot of stress or putting him and Pearl in any type of danger. I mean, no more stress, I guess. Sounds like him not wanting to have sex with his wife was the least of his worries. He made the wrong choice since sex didn't kill him. His decisions to kill these kids is what killed him. So, for that, I'm going to give him 1 nail in the coffin. All we have left is Maxine and Pearl, both characters played wonderfully by Mia Goth. Maxine has her pistol pointed at Pearl, demanded the keys for the truck, which she does fine. Pearl is just berating Maxine the entire time. She's staring at her. Maxine is getting more and more upset. She can't take it. She's yelling at Pearl to stop staring at her. Pearl won't stop staring, so Maxine pulls the trigger on the pistol. Unfortunately, the chamber is empty. This gives Pearl a chance to pick up the shotgun and shoot it at Maxine. Maxine dodges the blast, but the blast does send Pearl flying comically back onto the porch, breaking her hip. Maxine walks over to Pearl and she tells her to shush. She then gets in the truck preparing to leave. Pearl is continuing to insult and berate Maxine. Maxine really can't take it anymore, so she backs the truck up and drives right over Pearl's head, squishing it like a pumpkin. All Pearl really wanted was to get nailed, and she did, but she also got her head squished for being a sex-craved maniac. She's getting nailed more than one time with this 1 nail in the coffin. Her motivations were wacky. She knew how frail she was as well. You know, even after she shot at Maxine, the blast sent her flying backwards, breaking her hip. She continued to talk shit on Maxine, yelling at her, cursing her out. If you don't want to die, why would you keep insulting the only person within miles that can even remotely help you? She also crawled right into the path of the driveway before Maxine backed the truck up. She didn't really make any smart decisions in this movie. It's like almost she was ready to die, but Pearl gets nailed for the final time with 1 nail in the coffin. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all my nails in a coffin for Ty West's X. Here's a summary of all the nails I've awarded. X has an average of 1.57 nails. So we're going to see how that compares to X's sequel, Pearl, which I will cover here next week. I will see you then. Thanks again for watching. Please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And check out my other series. I've got my Hard Debate series and my Let's Nail This series. I'll have some cards up here for you guys to check those out. Those are a ton of fun. Thanks again, everybody. I'll see you here next week with Pearl. Take care, stay safe, be good to each other. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.